Good morning and welcome back to Don't Lift Off. So today I'm going to have a brief conversation with my friend Ray Grimes. So Grimesy and I have known each other since the late 1990s when we worked together at Silverstone. We also worked together at Club Fiorano, Ferrari UK's driving club, along with Keith Robinson, one of my guests from a couple of months ago. And Grimesy's got a great history of motorsport, karting in the 80s, maybe 70s as well, Formula Fords. I know he did a bit of Fun Cup racing. And one of the reasons I'm speaking to him today in particular is this year he's going to be racing a modern sports prototype, an LMP3 car, as well as a GT car in the guise of, I think, a Ferrari challenge car, something like a 488 challenge car. But the interesting thing is he's 68 years old. So it's a great journey he's going to be embarking on this year. So I just want to find out a little bit more about that. Looking forward to speaking to Grimesy finally. Oh, I should say one more thing, by the way. Please like and subscribe the channel. It's down at the bottom. If you enjoy it, if you're enjoying the episodes, please like and subscribe. It'll help me to grow the channel, which helps me to eventually monetize it, which will mean that I can more consistently be able to bring this to you. I can put a bit more effort. I want to do this full time eventually, but I'll only be able to do that if I get subscribers and I get people liking and watching it. So if you could be kind enough to subscribe, that would be amazing. There'll be a link at the end, and if not, just search down on your YouTube for the subscribe button. Thanks, guys. Mate, right, show me your room then. Show me what you've got. What have you done?
So what happened was, I had some room on the side of my house, and I just decided last year. I have a project every year. So my first project was to build a garage. So I put a carport up, which was really cool. And then I
Yeah.
looked at it and I thought, you know what, I could box this in myself. So I went to a timber merchant's, bought a load of timber, and then I boxed it all in between the frame, and then boxed it all in, built it up race shack,
Race
and then
Shack.
race shack, and then built
Raise
built all of
Shack.
built all of this over towards the end of last year. Then I went on eBay. I wanted a door, so I went on eBay, bought a garage door. My mate fits garage door, so I bought this garage door and he fitted it for me. And then this is where my toys are going. So because I'm like a single bloke now, which is cool, and I can do my own thing. So I don't have any women minding me to tell me what I can and can't do. So I built myself a man shack. So I
Hope my
bought
wife
myself a
watches
cart.
this.
So this is a cart from the 80s. It's a Stevenson Sprint. So they have a championship for all old blokes like myself that can go and race each other in the karts they raced in period. So this is a class 100cc kart. So
Is that
today I was
reed or
actually.
rotary valve? I don't know too much about it.
Oh, don't. Oh, well, you're getting very complicated, aren't you? I don't know. I just press that pedal there, and then it goes, and then that
It'll
one
be a
stops
bump start,
occasionally.
won't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a bump start, so you have to lift the back up because it's direct drive. So it's got one gear, and all you do is you just have to drop the back, run like with clappers, and then it starts. Then you jump in, and then
Brilliant. Can
so I
you still
built.
do that?
Hey,
Can you still do that?
yeah, yeah. That's why I'm eating the eggs
I was
to
going to
try and
say, you're
lose weight.
wandering around. You're wandering around randomly holding an egg. So tell me again what you just told me. I've got, what's that? Why are you holding an egg
Right.
there?
I saw on YouTube because I watch YouTube all the time, and it said an egg diet. So if you eat 4 eggs a day, then it helps you burn fat. So I thought that's cool, and so started doing it. But now I've realised why they call it fasting, because when you're in a race car and you've ate 4 eggs, it stinks like buggery. So you drive as fast as you can to get out the
Oh my
car.
God.
Then I've got my little
Full of
motorbike
protein,
there,
mate.
little
Oh, what have you got
motorbike.
there?
It's a Belgian bike called the Bull. It's a 125, but it sounds like a 600. So when it's clean
Right.
and tidy, it looks mega. So it's like a dead retro bike.
Nice.
So I love that. So what I did was with all the stuff that I'd had. Here's Mikey. This is
I'm
my
the
mate Mike.
14-year-old brew boy.
This
Pleased
is
to meet you,
this
Ligier.
this is the 14-year
All
old
right,
brew
Mike, how
boy.
you doing?
Do you like
Very well,
look at
thank
me
you.
cups? Look at me cups. Show me
Oh,
cups.
this is the best cup.
Watch this cup. You like this?
It's like Little
Hang
Miss
on.
Sunshine.
No, I can turn it round.
Fucking sunshine. Brilliant. That is totally right.
So what I did was with all of the offcuts of wood because I kept over ordering. I built myself a workbench. So you can see it's still in a project. It's nearly finished, about 95% there. Just got to get
Yeah,
all the
nice.
get all the electric in, and then we're laughing. Then got a telly.
Nice.
Have you showing me your safety feature?
Well, now then, you know we are Dunny that we think we know what we're talking about. So I've
Yeah, we've
got the
got
thing
no idea at all.
for me boiler. You know the thing
The
that
flu.
the flue, right? And it
Yeah,
puts gases out. So
yeah.
in my mind, as long as I box it in, I'll be all right. I won't die. But my mate came down last night and said, "He's trying to kill yourself." He's a plumber, so he said, "You can't." He said, "You can't do that." He said that's dangerous, so he's going to actually come down, put a new boiler in, and turn it round so it's not in the room. So this
When
was
you
my
say
idea.
boxed it in, you realise
Box.
there's no sides to that box, Ray. You have to put sides to it if you're going to
Oh,
box it in.
they're there. They're there. I went and bought them yesterday. Bought them
Oh,
yesterday,
wow.
and so I put a fan in, and that's like a fan in to extract a fan. But he said that's still not right. So
Yeah,
I'll be alive
it's
for another
carbon
year at
monoxide,
least.
probably.
Yeah, exactly. But we are what we are, aren't we? Which one's mine? Is that mine?
Yes.
Do you like this one here? Hang on. That's from
What's
Texas.
that?
Can you see it?
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hang on a second. Hang on. Let me see if I can share this. I'll share the screen because I've got that photo somewhere. Hang on.
Yeah.
Bear with.
Well,
Hang
what
on. Bear
happened
with.
there was when we raced in
It's here
Texas in
somewhere.
October. Yeah, and up
Here
that
is
one.
it? Here it is that. Oh my God, I'm opening up iTunes and all sorts.
There it is.
Yeah,
There
is
it
that it?
is.
Can you see it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. So what happened was I
brilliant.
didn't know somebody had taken that. What happened was John that I was racing with. Everybody had crash helmet, cowboy hats, and I didn't have one. Anyway, so the next thing at the circuit, they had somebody selling cowboy hats. So he went and bought me one. He said, "Right, I bought it for you. You're gonna have to wear it now."
Amazing.
And it was like it was such a laugh because we look like
Do you have
proper
a nick? Do
cowboys.
you have a nickname now? Is it like Ride and Ray or something like that?
I wish it was.
Broke back Ray.
Yeah, broke back Ray's
Break
calling
back.
me now.
I was just trying to think of a similar thing.
So
You and your
so what we
broken
do, me
back
and Mikey are
story.
going. So I built a camper van last year out of a Citroen Relay, which is I love. Um, so we're going to take the camper van and put the cart in there and go down to Hooton and do a bit of testing.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
yeah.
So you got to mix it with
So
two. It'll be running on two-stroke Castrol R, I suppose, or Shell R, is it?
yeah, yeah. Well, a mate of mine phoned me up. I'll tell you, Richard Fors.
Oh
You know
yeah,
Richard
I haven't spoken
Fors?
to
Yeah.
Forzy for ages. Yeah.
Yeah, well, his girlfriend makes candles, and he said, "Is there any way we can make Castrol R30 candles?" So,
What a great idea.
can you imagine? So, anyway, what he's done is he's got in touch with a mate of mine. We're just trying to work out a way you can do it because you can't really burn Castrol R because you'll burn your house down. So,
Yeah, but what a great, because that's the smell, isn't it? Like, mate,
oh
like
yeah,
I grew up with my uncles, but both into schoolboy scrambling, and so like
yeah,
the smell of Castrol R, you go down to a scramble meeting, and they were doing
yeah.
schoolboy scrambling, and it's like, and that was what I was indoctrinated as like a 4-year-old, and it's the
Seriously,
same when I went karting. I was like,
exactly.
oh yes, it reminds me of back in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah. Well, do you know what's funny, Dunny? When my daughter was really small and she was in a pram, and they used to have a thing in Northwich called a Thunder Sprint, and it was like where they closed the streets down and had a race, and they used Marks and Spencer's car park as a paddock. And I was pushing my daughter around the town, and she's in the pram, and all of a sudden she went, "Stop, stop!" like that. So I said, "What's the matter?" She said, "What's that smell?" And there was warming a bike up, and it was R30 Castrol. And I said, "It's that
Yeah.
motorbike over there. They're warming up. Take me." So I took her over, and she's leaning forward towards the exhaust while revving it. And the mechanics went, "Is she all right there?" I said, "She's fine." And she was there sniffing this R30.
Yeah, it's just
How mad is
unmistakable, isn't
that?
it? That smell,
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's
amazing.
brilliant.
So I see you've got your TV. Is that for when you're doing your? That's for when you're doing your data logging.
Is it buggery? That's for watching. That's for watching. That's for watching DVDs when I'm working on my cart or messing around. It's funny because I've got a vacuum in here. My house is a shithole, but I've got a vacuum in here to vacuum my carriage up when I've been working in it.
That's funny, mate. I've got quite a good photo. I'll see if I can dig it out, actually. I'll stick it on the end of this podcast for a bit of a laugh. I've got a photo of you and Jonesy learning data logging when we're in the
Oh yeah,
AMR track. So it's just like, it's literally Statler and Waldorf
I was going to say
looking
you
at
want to put
the,
underneath it, put Dumber and Dumber.
yeah. What is this? How do you switch it on? How do you switch it on, boy?
Yeah, where do you put the water to get the steam going? I mean, we're both old blokes now. I mean, do you remember when we started instructing and you'd look at blokes out my age and you'd go,
Look at all
how's them
this.
doddering old gits still coaching, you know?
Yeah.
And we're still doing
Yeah.
it. It's mental.
That's us now. Yeah,
That's
I've got
us now, mate.
ridiculous long hair. You got white hair. You
Yeah.
still do
Yeah.
look like Bobby Davro, though, to be fair.
Do you remember that coming back from, which track was it, Spa or something? I can't remember where we were flying back from. And remember the mechanic that covered his mouth like that? And came. Do you remember when I had those blonde highlights and I used to have my hair brushed back like Bobby Davro?
Yeah.
And I was the last person on the plane, and the mechanic's got a really loud voice, and he covered his face up and he said, "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this flight, this early morning flight. We'd like to welcome a celebrity on the plane this morning, the famous Bobby Davro." And there was old ladies going, "Look, it's Bobby Davro." I thought, you bastard.
Mate, you're more famous than Bobby Davro. You're more
Oh,
famous in
mate.
motorsport. Like, everyone knows Grimesy.
Oh,
I
God.
think everyone
Well,
started racing with Grimesy. Everyone's been coached by Grimesy.
yeah,
It's that one person doesn't know. I tell you, who I was just speaking to on the phone just a minute ago was Matt Kelly, and he said ask him to talk about karting in the 80s because he said when he was like
yeah,
14, he used to watch you doing long circuit
yeah,
125. He said
yeah.
ask him how good it was back in the 80s.
Oh, mate. Well, that's why I've gone back to getting something like this now because what happens with these karts now is it's all the old guys racing. And in the old days when we started racing, say you had a problem, somebody'd lend you something. Your fellow competitors would lend you a carb, an engine, tyres, whatever. It's all gone that now. There's none of that. And exactly what Matt said, the camaraderie in racing was bloody awesome. And where my career kind of broke, which was mental, in '87, I started the season. I had £300. That was it. And
Mm.
what happened was a mate of mine had a gearbox car, a 125 Zip Grand Prix. And he said to me, he said, "What are you doing this year?" I said, "Nothing, I've only got £300. So he said, "Look," he said, "I've got this long circuit car. How do you fancy having a go at long circuit? And I'll charge you 150 quid a race and I'll look after you," because he wanted me out there. So he said, and we'll see how it goes. So we went to the first round of the British Championships at Cadwell Park and I won it. So then we went to the second round at Donington. I won that. So now I'm leading the British champs, but I've run out of money. So he said the next race
Wow.
is the O plate at Donington. I'd always wanted to win it. It's a white number plate with a red zero on it, and I'd
Yeah,
always
yeah.
wanted to win that. And what happened was I was gagging to win that, but I had no money. So he said, "Look," he had a petrol station in Tarpley near Alton Park. And he said, "Look, I want to turn that storeroom into a video shop and I'm pretty good at DIY." So he said, I'll buy the materials, you do it for me and I'll pay for your next race, the O Plate Donington." So I said, "Right." So I did it. Anyway, we did it and we won the O Plate. So we're absolutely made up. Now, little David Coulthard was about 11, 12 at the time. And I knew David as a junior driver that used to be at club races with us. And his family
Mm.
were absolutely fantastic. His mum and dad were awesome. And anyway, so David said, "Oh," he says, "you'll win the Grand Prix at Silverstone." I said, "I won't because I've got no money." So he said, "Oh, that's a shame." Anyway, on the Tuesday, Duncan, David's father, phoned me up and said, "Oh, I believe that you're doing really well." David said, "You're driving fantastic, but you've got no money." I said, "Yeah, that's true." So he said, "I'll sponsor you for the rest of the year." So David's dad sponsored me for the rest of the season. And at that time, the lad that owned the cars, he was just trying to get into cars. So he said, "I'm buying a race car with a mate. I want you to race that for us." So I was doing the karts and the cars. as well. And
Are you doing cars as well?
yeah, so I was doing a racing a
I didn't know
motorsports
that.
midget. So
Mm,
and we won 5 out of 6 races in that, and then the '88 season I raced a 250, and I was racing the MG as well. And I
mm,
had a full time job as a planner plate maker, and I was working shifts at a printers. So I was running
mm.
between all three things, doing all three things. And then at the end of that year, they bought a TVR Tuscan for me to race in TVR Tuscan Challenge. So that was the start of it all. Then,
Yeah, yeah.
mind you, I got sacked halfway through the year for crashing at Silverstone. So I felt
Oh,
like Liam
really?
Lawson.
That's funny, mate. Do you know what I've just
There you
seen?
go.
It's given me a little message saying Rocket Ray's recording has stopped. Make sure the recording does have a space. Blah blah blah. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop. I'm going to restart it. Just give me 2 seconds. So sorry, you were telling me your story. So you were sponsored by
David Coulthard's dad, and
really?
yeah, yeah, and there was such a lovely family. And I've seen David since because his son's karting now, and he's the same lad that he was when he was all those years ago. Exactly the
I
same
remember
lad.
you saying actually when we met up at the Autosport show
Yeah.
one time. You just said you'd just gone and had a drink with DC. It's funny
Yeah.
who you meet, isn't it?
Well, you know what? Because it's the old school, what we all grew up together, and when we worked at Silverstone together, with like the different top drivers that we've worked with over there, and none of them had any kind of. As soon as they see you, the old school see you, then your mates again. They're not superstars or anything
Yeah,
anymore. It's
yeah,
like Andy Prio, for example. He's a perfect example. Who
yeah,
world touring car champion, and you meet him, and it's just like you meeting your mate when we were instructing together at Silverstone. And it's
yeah. That's
nice.
right. Well, everyone
It's
knows everyone,
nice.
don't they?
Yeah, and it's lovely, and these people. I mean, it's like, for example, I mean, you've met a lot of famous people through what we do, and when you
Mm.
just meet them and you talk in cars with them and stuff, they love it because they know that you're just two passionate people about the same thing, and they become your
Yeah.
mates. They're not like a celebrity and you. It's like just your mates talking about cars.
Well,
Um,
the best one, one of the nicest guys I met was Brian Johnson, from
mm,
AC/DC,
mm.
and it was this thing called Silverstone, the race. It was quite interesting,
I
actually. So
watched that. I
they
watched
all
it.
turned, yeah, back in the day when Dixie
Mm,
was comparing it, and uh, um, but yeah, so they all turned up in this minibus, celebrity bus at the Stowe circuit, and the first person to come wandering across was Brian because we were just running the Silverstone single seaters and he was just interested in the cars.
yeah,
And he
yeah.
was just, oh, right, lads, yeah, tell us about these cars. So we were chat, 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 chat. But the interesting thing about that was after he wandered back across, because the other celebrities were kind of just doing their thing over in the easy up awning. But afterwards, the director came over, gathered us all together, and basically gave us a bollocking for talking to the guests. But I now realise why he was doing that, and it was quite
Mm.
clever actually. So, when you watch like Britain's Got Talent or X Factor or whatever, always the best ones when there's a bit of drama going, right? What the director did, what I can only assume, I think why the director was asking us to do that, because we were thinking at the time, what a tosser, why would he go and say that? Why would he go and keep
Mm.
us apart from
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
The clever thing was when we went to go and do the instructor license, they weren't real instructor licenses, they were kind of instructor
yeah,
license things. And
yeah.
forgive me if I've told this story before, I might have already told this story on the pod, but basically when Dave Mellor, God rest his soul, when
Mm.
he was the race license examining instructor for Jenny Frost from
Mm.
Atomic Kitten, so
Mm.
he failed her. But because there was a them and us that was being created, that we didn't know each other, there was no common ground, and we
Yeah,
were kind of there as the
yeah.
examining instructors,
Like
then,
driving
she
instructors
was
on the
getting
road.
yeah,
Mm.
and she got upset, and it was just created a good bit of TV. And I was like, yeah, that's why they've done it because they don't want us to be
Yeah,
friends. Because
yeah, yeah,
without us being friends, it's gonna create some of division, and it's gonna be it's gonna be drama. So
yeah.
that was a good insight. But
Well,
he was a lovely fellow, good little driver
well,
as well.
you're like me. Human beings are human beings. So I don't care if you've got a penny or if you've got a pound. If you're a nice
He'll
person, you're a
hug
nice
everyone.
person. Yeah, everybody gets a hug, and it's like, and
And
it's like,
COVID 5 years ago.
Well, flipping, it's funny, because I still, when that happened, as you know, I nearly died with it in March 2020, and I was
Mm,
in intensive care for 11 days with it, and it opens your mind up to different things in life about what's important, and and cherish every day, because we could be gone any second. You know what I mean? So what you've
mm,
got to do is you have to live your life day by day. You can't plan for the future because you never know it's going to be there. And
mm,
that opened my eyes up a lot. That did, because I can very very. I even noticed that I know the minute when I thought this, I'm not going to make this. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't breathe. My lungs had stopped working. I had oxygen on, but no air was going in. And I thought, I'm not going to make this. And then I started thinking about my daughter. I get um, I get quite emotional about this because you love your kids, and I thought I was going to lose her, and I thought, well, who's going to look after her when I'm gone? Because she needs a dad. She's 18 years old. She's not got a dad if he's
mm,
gone. And who's going to look after her? Who's going to teach her about the rights and wrongs of the world? Who's going to take care of her when she needs you?
mm.
And it was at that point where I thought my lungs were going to shut down. Where I thought, I can't go now. I've got to stay. So
Mm,
I decided not to sleep, because if I slept, I wouldn't wake up. And I didn't sleep for 2 days and 2 nights. And on the second night, I just felt a little bit of air going into my lungs that I didn't feel before. And I thought, oh, that's a positive. And eventually, after 11 days, I got out of intensive care. And when I could actually see my daughter, I just thanked her, because without her, I'd have give up. You
mm.
know, uh,
It's fucking brilliant. You got Mike in the background. This is just like X Factor, mate. Mike in the background. My mate fucking crying. So where's Mike?
I didn't think about Mike. Yeah, it was just it was a very daunting experience, mate. Um, there he is. So he's taking pictures. So
Some
no,
picture of Grimesy
it
crying like he's on X
yeah,
Factor. Sorry,
it was a
mate. That's
very
how you get through it, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, the thing is, when I got out of hospital, if you remember, we had a heat wave right at the start of COVID, and I got home and I sat in my garden. I've got a one-bedroomed house. I'm not a millionaire. I've got a small garden, piece of grass, hedge. That's it. And
Yeah.
I pulled it. I put a chair up outside on my little decking I've built. Sat there with a cup of tea, and I just thought. I looked at my grass and I thought, I love my grass. I love my tree. I love my hedge. And all of a sudden, this is what I'm saying about life. You've just got to live every day and enjoy every day. But because you think that way, more comes to you, if that makes sense, in life. Because you have that
Yeah.
positivity about, this is a great day, another great day, another great day. And people like
Mm,
that. People like to see people that are positive, and they get
yeah.
drawn to positivity. So it was actually a positive thing to happen to me, you know. And I got cancer a couple of years later, and but I could handle it a lot better, because I just went, it is what it is, and what will be will be. And I was a lot
Yeah.
calmer with the cancer than I was with the COVID.
Mm.
And I got through that one as well. Finished up having an
What was that? What
operation.
type of cancer was it, if you don't mind me asking?
It was I had cancer in my groin. It was like in the skin up in my groin. I mean, an epically funny story, that, mate. If you've got time to listen to it, I'll tell you it,
Anything to
because
do with your groin is definitely going to be a funny story, and there's
mate,
plenty of
mate,
stories there, aren't there?
oh mate, seriously. Well, what happened was, it was
And
like
I just
just
touched your pube.
well, yeah, well, just above your willy, where your groin is there. Noticed these like blisters around there, and I thought, I wouldn't mind if I'd been with a bad hooker, that I've got something to appreciate. But I'd been near nobody, and it was
I
there,
knew this was going to be epic.
and I was like,
So it will only
what?
be a 20 minute conversation about your LMP3 car, and we're talking about flesh above your dick. Go on, carry
Well,
on.
well, it was like it was there, and I was like, "What the hell's that?" And I couldn't work it out. Anyway, I went to the doctors, and they took a biopsy. I went to the hospital. Sorry, they took a biopsy. Said you've got cancer in your groin. So I said, right, okay. So they said we're going to have to operate, but in the meantime, while we wait for the operation, we'll give you this cream to use. Now, you put this cream on, right, and it's a kind of a form of chemotherapy, like it's like a cream, but they use for chemotherapy. And anyway, Jesus. Now, I'd only put it on the area that was actually damaged, right? But what happened was, for some reason, it reacted to my balls and it burnt the skin off my balls, right? And it was like somebody put nitromorse on my balls because all the skin was just peeling off. And I was walking like a duck. And I was working, you
Did
asked
you
Jonesy.
strangely enjoy it?
Oh, seriously, the pain. It was like somebody's just there with a heat gun on your balls. So I was working with
No.
Jonesy for 2 days at Blighton looking after some juniors. Anyway, you know when you get in the car and I'd packed my undies with as much packing as I could because of the pain. And I'm putting the harnesses on and every time they braked, it burnt. And anyway, the first night I was sharing a room with Jonesy and I went into the bathroom to take all this packing and stuff
Hey,
off.
mate, look at this. Look at
Oh,
this.
and Jonesy, and I came out, and Jonesy was laughing his head off. I said, "What you're laughing at?" He said, "All I can hear from the bathroom is oh, ow, ow, oh, ow, like this." He said, "You taking this stuff off anyway." That the next day, I went into hospital. I thought I can't stand the pain, so I walked into the hospital, and there's a waiting room and a receptionist. So I walked in, load of people in the waiting room. I waggled in towards the receptionist. So she looked at me and she went, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yes, my balls are on fire." So everybody burst out laughing. She went, "Oh, that's not good, is it?" I said, "No, it really hurts." She said, "I'll get you a nurse." So she got me this. Now, I wish it had been an ugly, older nurse, but no, it was a fit, young 30-year-old. She takes me into a room and she said, "Drop your pants." So I said, "Before we go any further," I said, "Have you ever seen a tortoise when a banger goes off next to it?" And she went, "I'm sorry." I said, "Have you ever seen a tortoise when a banger goes off next to it?" She went, "No." I said, "What do you think a tortoise would do?" She said, "Well, it'd retract into its shell." I said, "Exactly." I said, "That's what's happening down
Uh,
there." I said, "My willy is in a state of shock and it thinks it's a tortoise and it's shot backwards from the pain." I said, "Where there should be a willy, there's an acorn." I said, "So it's normally a lot bigger than that." I said, "So please take that into account before I drop my pants." Anyway, so she looks and she goes, "Well, that's not good." So she said, "We better get you in for an operation." So fair play, within a few days, they've got me in for an op, and it's 4:45 on a Friday evening at Leighton Hospital near Alton Park. So it's under local anaesthetic. So I'm laying on the operating theatre and they're going to do it under local anaesthetic. So there's four nurses, a guy on a computer, and this big Nigerian 6'6" guy doing the operation. So I'm watching them all run around and I thought, I feel really sorry for them because, all I see is people in pain and stuff like that. And I'm going to make a bit of a fun out of this. So I looked around and I said, "Excuse me, can I have a word with you all before we start?" And so they must have thought, "Oh, he's really nervous." So they all gathered round the operating theatre, the bed, and they went, "What's the matter?" And I looked at my watch. I said, "It's 4:45 on a Friday. Is anybody on a promise tonight?" And they went, "No." I went, "Good, because while you're working down there, I want your 100% concentration." Well, this surgeon starts laughing his head off. And I said, I said, "Before we start, I'm going to be holding on to your balls." I said, "If you hurt me, I hurt you." And he just cracked up laughing. He said, "Don't make me laugh because I've got an operation to do." Anyway, so to cut a long story short, they cut 5 inches by an inch and a half out of my groin. And he said, "Look, I've had to take
really?
yeah." They said, "I've got to take quite a big area out. When I sew it up, it's going to leave quite a scar." I said, "Oh, brilliant." He said, "What do you mean, brilliant?" I said, "Well, next time I drop my pants in front of a girl, I'm going to say, 'Look at that down there.'" I said, "My willy used to be twice the length of this, but a shark bit half of it off. Look, there's the bite marks." And he says, "Well, that's what," he said, "that's positivity for you." I says, "Well, you've got to laugh about it, haven't you?" Yeah,
Oh,
so that was
mate,
another
that's epic.
experience. Yeah, yeah.
Another Grimesy story. There's literally,
Yeah.
I could sit here for about 6 hours and and you wouldn't run out of stories.
No, mate,
Right,
no.
tell me about what it's like. So I'm looking on Facebook and then I'm seeing this random thing, going to be racing a challenge car at. Actually, I might have spoken to you on the phone. Then I saw it on Facebook about you racing this challenge car at Austin, and then next minute there's this LMP3 car that randomly turns
Yeah.
up. It's like,
Well, what
how
happened
on earth?
was,
What? How did that happen?
um, I'm 68 this year, and you think, oh, I'm getting past my sell by date, and I met this guy who's unbelievably. I love him to death. He's the most positive, happy person I've ever met in my life. And Mike as well. Sorry, you're all right. You've got flogging. Something in your throat. Something in your throat. Yeah. Anyway, so John, you've met him, haven't you? Yes. Anyway, so John, I met him, and he wanted to start racing and stuff. He's 59 years old, and he'd bought a challenge car. So I said, it's a bit too quick for you. We need to get you something in that's a bit cheaper, that if you bump, it's going to be cheap to fix. So we got him a BMW 116 for the trophy, which was great. And we get to August time, and he said, I fancy racing the Ferrari. So I said, well, look, why don't you do Silverstone Festival? You know yourself, Silverstone Festival's fantastic because you've got historic F1 cars, Le Mans cars, everything racing, E-Type Jags, Mustangs, Minis. There's all sorts going on. Fun fairs, live music. It's in August. It's an amazing event. So he said, let's get an entry in. So we got an entry in. It's 2 driver, 50 minutes. So we did a test before we went there. He did really, really well. I was really pleased with him. It rained in the morning. He went out in qualifying. There was 47 cars on the grid. We qualified 23rd out of 47, and that was GT3 cars. And so we were really pleased with that. And anyway. So what happened then was he went out in the race. It had been raining. It's wet. Put wet tyres on for him. Anyway, fair play to him. First 20 minutes, he kept his 23rd position, handed over to me. And then you know yourself, when you're on the radio to your team, they said, look after your tyres because it's going to lash it down with rain in 10 minutes, which it did.
Mm.
And that fell
Mm.
into our hands. It just felt really good. Anyway, I went from 23rd to 5th overall, third in class. So we finished up on the podium. So John
Mega.
was ecstatic. He absolutely loved it. Anyway, Masters phoned him up on the Monday and said, listen, how would you like to go to Texas and support the F1 race with your Ferrari? So he phoned me up. And I said, look, why don't you do it? Why don't you do it with one of your wealthy mates that races, so that you can cut the cost, split the cost between you? And he said, if I'm going to do it, I'm
Mm.
doing it with you. I want to do it with you. So I was like, wow, that's cool. So we went over to
Mm.
Texas, had a fantastic time. The race was amazing. The circuit's unbelievable.
Let me see
The
if I can find a
atmosphere.
screenshot. Can you see
Yeah,
that?
so
Yeah.
that was after the second race. That was in after the second race. So in the background, you'll be able to see. So that's me and John there. That's the 488 Challenge Ferrari Challenge car. And we just had a fantastic time. He's, like I say, he's the most positive, happy person in the world. So he's great to be with. And he
Look at
just
you
went.
two. That's brilliant.
Oh, mate, we're just mates. We're proper mates. And in the background there, that's turn one, two. That's turn two, three, three, four in the background. So
Okay.
it's a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
sweeping blind bends. It's fantastic.
So you'd
I
have
loved it.
you knew that circuit. You would have done a
No,
few of the.
no, no. We turned up. There's
Ah,
no
okay. Had you
test.
not gone?
No, there's no testing. You go
Right.
straight into quali. So I did 4 laps of quali so John could get more time in the car. We qualified. There was 36 cars on the grid. We qualified 18th overall, and that's with Le Mans and GT3s. We were the only challenge
Right.
car there. So we were well pleased with that, and we finished 18th overall and 7th overall out of 17 GT3 cars. So we're dead happy with that. Um,
Mega.
and John just loved it. So what happened whilst we were there, he saw a Ligier LMP3 car. And he said, oh, what's this?
Mm.
So I told him what it is and everything. He said, I like that. So anyway, we finished up. He got into it more and more and more. So then he finished up buying one. So about 3 weeks ago, we went to Portugal testing the Ferrari for 2 days and then the Ligier for a day. So we're going to do Masters with both cars this year. So our first race will be Zandvoort in Holland.
Yeah.
We were supposed
You've
to be
been
into
there. I
Hockenheim.
know you've been there.
Yeah, Zandvoort. So that's the Ligier LMP3 car there. So that's the first day we're going out in the car. It was just bloody amazing car. It's just fantastic. I love it to death. So we had it all wrapped. It was in carbon when we got it. So we had it wrapped in these. So we called ourselves Lone Wolf Racing. So
That's it.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Lone Wolf Racing we're called. So we love the car to death. It's there's a lot to learn about it. As you know, it's a bit like a Radical. It's
Yeah.
very direct. No ABS, no traction, just
That's
pure
is
aero.
that the first time you've driven anything with a
Yeah.
decent amount of aero?
Well, there's a team called Front Row Racing that run Le Mans and F1 cars, and I've driven a Dallara that won the 24-hour Rolex at Anglesey. That was
Right. Yeah.
amazing. I loved that. And then I've driven three F1 cars now. So I've
Oh
driven
yeah, I
Elio
remember you
De
out with it.
yeah, so I've driven Elio De Angelis' Lotus, JPS Lotus, Keke Rosberg's Williams, and Emanuele Piro's Dallara with a Judd F1 in it. So yeah, so as I
Nice.
said, so all these things happen, and you don't expect they're going to happen. So you never know what's around the corner with your life, do you?
You certainly don't, mate. What was going around Portimao, as Tommy
Mm,
Erdos, Portimao. It's Portimao.
yeah. Portimao.
Um, Portimao. It's in
Mm,
the Mao. Um, the last corner, I think it's called Galp. So you've
yeah,
got like you go around this sort of hairpin, and then you go around that long over
sweeping
crest
right.
right hander. And it's
Yeah,
yeah. What's that like in a prototype?
that's flat in one of those. But I was just doing a slight lift because I only did 5 laps in it, but I was just doing a
Right.
slight lift in there. But it is flat. It's flat through there in one of those.
I
It's
was going to
flat.
say, how was your
Mm.
neck after doing that? Because I drove it on Cy Mason's simulator, and I
Yeah.
was thinking this would be a proper neck killer.
Well, my neck was all right. It was what it was the seat was too big for me. So, and you know what Portimao's like? It's uphill, down, dale, adverse cambers, everything.
Yeah,
So I was being rolled around from side to side in the car. Then I was every time I got on the throttle, I was pushing myself back up in the seat because I kept submarining down. You start to slide down your seat, and then I kept pushing myself back up so I could see where I was going.
that's no
Um,
good. Yeah, that's
yeah,
you can't do that. I remember driving the
yeah,
Radical, similar sort of thing, and it's just no,
no.
it makes a massive amount of difference. I'll see if I've got a bit of video here. I think, mate. Let me see if I
Yeah, well,
can play this.
I spoke to John about it, and I said that's the most important thing is the seat position in a car. So we've got to. That's when we got picked it up from. When we picked it up from having the wrapping done on the car. So it was
Mm,
in carbon. So as you can see,
nice
it's got
livery.
holes on it. Yeah. So Keith Woods designed it. So Keith Woods has got the design centre now. He's got a place. He does Sparko clothing at Silverstone now. He's got beautiful, beautiful
Okay,
showrooms. So Keith Woods is a designer, and he designs crash helmets, designs car liveries, all that kind of stuff, and he's amazing at what he does. So he
right.
designed that for us. Yeah, yeah.
They
So it
sound
looked
great, these
beautiful.
cars as well, don't they?
Oh, it's a 5 litre Nissan engine, so it's really. It sounds like you remember at Le Mans because these can race at Le Mans. These cars, so that'd
Mm.
always been my dream would be Le Mans. So, and but to get to qualify for Le Mans, it's really hard work. You've got to do a full season in the Le Mans Cup or something like that before you can even
Yeah,
think about it. So
I've got some footage as well of the car coming past. Here we go. I don't know if you'll hear the sound on this. Hang
yeah,
on
so
two
this is
seconds.
this is this is my first lap in the car coming down to the hairpin, and it's just it sound like you say when you'll be able to play the video and the sound's amazing, but the grip levels are mental. You've just got to believe in it, as you know with the Radical. You've got to believe that it will go around the corner at those speeds.
Yeah, you just
Um,
you keep daring yourself lap after lap. It's an invisible thing. You just like,
yeah,
oh, that's got more grip. You just got to keep
yeah.
pushing until you start going wide of the apex, where you start feeling it. We don't really generally feel it. You just find yourself starting to miss an apex.
Yeah, and it's interesting because as we coach people and you're explaining to them about using the full width of the circuit, and they don't realise how much a foot can make difference on your racing lines. It's mental. So you've got to be so precise. And I say to people, go slower, but get your lines right rather than going fast and getting your lines wrong. Because there's more
Yeah.
speed and get your lines consistently right than there is by going flat out on one lap and then be rubbish on the next one.
We getting to a rhythm is the key,
Yeah,
first of
yeah,
all. Because once you got
exactly.
the rhythm, and then you've got repeatability, and then you can just push and push and push. Like I did the absolute opposite when I first started karting. I just flat out,
Well,
just sit and just kept spinning and crashing.
that's why we became driver coaches, because we've made all the mistakes. So I was exactly the same as you. You're driving until you're on the limit, and you feel like you're going to die, and everybody's driving past you, and you're like, "What the hell's going on?" And you don't realise you're driving with your heart rather than your brain.
Yeah,
So yeah, what we can do is, as driver coaches, when we coach people, is say, "Look, we've been through all these." I was out in a GT3 Porsche, not yesterday, the day before, and the guy was on it. I mean, properly on it. And I said, you know, it's there was an old Morecambe and Wise sketch many years ago. Your younger viewers won't know this one. It was Andre Previn, who's a composer, and he was there, and Eric Morecambe was playing the piano, and he was playing it all wrong. You know, he was playing a tune, but it wasn't synced right. And Andre Previn turned around to him and said, he said, "You're playing that all wrong." And he grabbed him by the throat, and he went, "Listen," he said, "I'm playing all the right notes, but just in the wrong order." and and that's what happens when you get guys that they think by just driving flat out and hanging on for grim death is right. That's fast, but it's not. It's the precision, like you said, that counts.
yeah, but that comes in time, doesn't it? It's like I find that. Well, I've found, and I'm guessing it's the same for anyone who goes racing now, and it's a new
Mm.
experience for everyone, isn't it? But I just remember, like you do practice days, and that's to fine hone your technique. But as soon as that, I just remember, as soon as that green light went,
Mm.
all of that just went out the window, and you're just driving on instinct then, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like what you're trying to do, your testing is what you're trying to do in terms until you've got your technique right. Your testing is essentially fine honing that technique so you've got a solid base, so that when the
Yeah,
green light goes and it all goes out the window, then you can revert back to that solid base, and you're just trying to make that base bigger and stronger all the
yeah.
time in
Well,
testing, right?
where the quick drivers are the ones that can keep the composure, and they're very stoic all the way through the race. And I mean, one of my favourite touring car drivers just lost his drive, and I think he's the best touring car driver in the world. Is Colin Turkington, because when
Hmm.
you watch him, he just reads the circuit so well. He reads what's happening around him. He never hits people. You know, he when he sets himself up for a corner, it's a really clean overtake. Whereas you see some of the drivers are leaning on people and pushing them off and things like that. He never does that, but nobody ever does
Mm,
it to him either, because they respect him,
mm.
because they know that he doesn't do it to them, so they respect him for that.
Yeah, you
You know.
earn respect, right?
Yeah, exactly right, exactly right. I mean, you know, we've done it. We've raced in some major series, and so when you go, sometimes when you go into these major series, some of the more established drivers look down on you and they try to bully you a little bit. And what I always did was, when I went into a series, I asked who was the biggest bully, and like you do at school. And then when I went out, I'd give it them. I mean, I'd give it them properly. And they'd be like, "What the hell?" You know. And so they realised that I better not mess with this guy, because he's gonna. He's. I mean, I did the Fiestas, Ford Credit Fiesta series, and there was a Norwegian guy, and he was a proper bully. Turned up with all these Vikings as his mechanics and that. And somebody said to me, they said, "Oh, he's evil." So I thought, right, okay. So I went out in my first race, and we were at Snetterton. We came round Corham, and I was behind him, and I thought I'd set him up to just give him a nudge, you know, and just push him off the circuit, because I want him to know I wasn't frightened of him. And I just got my timing a bit wrong, because he took all the, you know, that big curb on the inside of the as you're exiting onto the start finish straight. There's a big, massive curb, and
Sorry,
if he
tell me where you were again. I
at
actually missed that.
Snetterton, at
At Snet,
Snetterton,
right?
when you
Yeah,
come
yeah.
around Corham, and then that
Hmm.
tight left before the start finish, and there's that big curb. And
Yeah.
unfortunately for him, just as I was setting him up to hit him, he took a lot of curbs. So he was on two wheels. Well, I'd already committed, so I just helped him over, didn't I? And he barrel rolled it, and then carried on. Anyway, so after the race, luckily enough, my mate was with me. He was a snap-on dealer, and he was built like a bulldog. And I went into the apart Ferme area, and all these Vikings are coming for me. And he just jumps in front of me like a Rottweiler and says, "You want it then? Do you want it? Come on then!" Like this, and he was going to take them all on. And so when we went to Silverstone for the last race, everybody said, "Oh, this Viking's after you. You know, he wants you." I said, "All right, okay." So we went on track, and then I was behind him again, and we went. Do you remember when they had the gravel trap at Cops and
Yeah.
Silverstone? And anyway, so I thought, oh, I've got to let him know he's going to have it. So I just got behind him, just got on his bump, and just fired him straight into the gravel trap. And anyway, he
Was
didn't come
that the
back to
same? Hang
Britain.
on, that's the same gravel trap when you punched the marshal, wasn't it? That's the.
Yeah,
I'm
that
just
one.
getting
That
that
one.
right.
Yeah, yeah, that one.
Ray wouldn't do something like
Yeah,
that.
I
He
wouldn't. I
told
was.
his
I'm
face.
innocent. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Ray's
where.
a nice
Yeah,
person.
that's where we had the. That's right. Where we had I had the fight with the marshal in the middle
I
of the
think we'll save
circuit.
that. I think we'll save that one for another podcast when you come over here, mate. Mate, well, listen, that's an absolute gem to end it on that one. Well, have a great day, mate. Thank you for giving us some of your time. Hope you boys have a great day. So, are you going to scoot straight off and go and test the car today, then?
Yeah, yeah. Just put the cart in the camper van now and get out, make our way down there. It's like I said to Mike. You know, as you get older, you don't rush around as much. You kind of just turn up and chill and do what you need to do. You know,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
What
So
he's trying
remember,
to say is he's going late to make an entrance.
Yes, I'm going to. You know, so that they all start waving to me and bowing and
It's
stuff. You know.
racing,
in
racing.
only the way Ray can do. All right, boys, have a good day. Don't lift off. Keep it pinned, mate.
See you,
Take
pal.
care.
Take care, buddy.